My beloved child, pause here for a moment, because what is waiting inside this message is not ordinary, and it did not arrive by accident. Something hidden has been moving beneath the silence around you. Something your heart has sensed, even when your mind tried to dismiss it. Do not rush away from this moment. Do not scroll past the feeling rising inside you, because heaven is drawing your attention toward a truth your soulmate has been too afraid to place into words. They may appear calm. They may pretend they have moved on. They may hide behind distance, pride, timing, confusion, or silence. But the truth is far more intense than what they allow you to see. Your soulmate is afraid, not because they feel nothing, but because what they feel has become too powerful to control. They have imagined looking into your eyes more times than you know. They have imagined standing before you with no excuses left, no carefully prepared speech, no protective mask, and no place to hide. In those private moments, they have practiced the confession they cannot yet bring themselves to speak. They begin the sentence in their mind, but every time they reach the words, their courage disappears. Their heart races. Their throat tightens. Their thoughts scatter. Because the confession is not small. It is not a simple statement of affection. It is an admission that could change everything between you. And the words they fear saying begin with this, I am. Stay with this message, because the ending of that sentence carries the weight of every silent moment, every missed opportunity, every strange sign, every unexplained pull, and every moment when you felt their energy even though they were nowhere near you. Your soulmate has been called a coward by their own conscience. Not because they are weak in every part of life, but because when it comes to you, they lose the control they are used to having. You see through them in a way others do not. You awaken emotions they cannot easily name. You bring them face to face with the parts of themselves they have spent years avoiding. Around others, they know what role to play. Around you, the role falls apart. They may know how to sound confident. They may know how to act distant. They may know how to laugh when someone mentions love. They may even know how to pretend that nothing touches them deeply. But when your name enters their mind, the performance ends. A silence appears inside them. A memory rises. A question returns. What if they had spoken sooner? What if they had chosen courage instead of hesitation? What if you are slowly learning to live without the answer they have been withholding? That last question frightens them more than they are willing to admit. There is something you must understand. Their silence has never been empty. It has been crowded with unfinished sentences. It has been filled with apologies they have not delivered, truths they have not revealed, and promises they are afraid they may no longer be allowed to make. You have wondered why someone who feels so deeply could behave so uncertainly. You have asked why the connection could feel so strong while their actions seemed so weak. You have questioned whether you imagined the closeness, whether you misread the signs, whether your heart created meaning where none existed. But heaven has witnessed what you could not see. There were nights when they reached for their phone and stopped. There were moments when they opened your name and stared. There were conversations where they almost told someone the full truth about you, then changed the subject. There were times they wanted to say, I miss you, but pride replaced honesty. There were times they wanted to say, "I made a mistake," but fear convinced them to wait. And there were moments when they whispered the beginning of that deeper confession into an empty room, only to feel overwhelmed by the reality of what it meant. Do not skip what comes next, because this is where the hidden emotional story begins to reveal itself. Your soulmate is not only afraid of rejection. Rejection would hurt, yes, but that is not the deepest fear. Their deepest fear is that you may look into their eyes and recognize how long they knew. They fear you will see that they understood the connection before they ever admitted it. They fear you will realize that many of their confusing choices were made while their heart already knew the truth. They fear you may ask the one question they have no comfortable answer for: if you felt this much, why did you make me feel so alone? That question follows them. It returns when everything becomes quiet. It appears when they remember the way you once showed them patience. It appears when they think of the times you gave them space, hoping they would return with honesty. It appears when they remember how your eyes seemed to ask for truth without demanding it. And it appears most strongly when they realize you may no longer be standing where they left you. Your energy has been changing, beloved child. You may not see it clearly yet, but they feel it. Something inside you has begun to grow tired of carrying an unanswered connection alone. Something inside you is learning that love should not always feel like waiting outside a locked door. You are becoming calmer, stronger, and less willing to chase clarity from someone who keeps hiding behind uncertainty. This shift has reached them like a distant bell. They cannot fully explain why they feel restless, but the reason is simple: your soul is no longer begging theirs to speak. And when you stop chasing an answer, the one holding the answer begins to feel the full weight of silence. Your soulmate has noticed the change in ways that may surprise you. Perhaps you have spoken less. Perhaps you have become more guarded. Perhaps your attention has returned to your own life. Perhaps you still care, but you no longer let every sign control your emotions. Perhaps there is a new stillness in you, one that says, "I will not abandon myself while waiting for someone else to choose courage." This stillness is powerful. It is not punishment. It is not bitterness. It is alignment. And alignment changes the entire connection. They once believed there would always be more time. They believed the bond between you was strong enough to survive endless delay. They believed you would somehow continue understanding what they refused to explain. They thought your heart would keep leaving the light on for them, even while they wandered through their own confusion. But now something has shifted. Time no longer feels endless to them. The distance no longer feels safe. The silence no longer protects them. It is beginning to expose them. They are realizing that not choosing is also a choice. They are realizing that fear can create the very loss it is trying to prevent. They are realizing that the person they are most afraid to face may be the person they are most afraid to live without. Still, the confession remains trapped behind their lips. I am. The words come close, then disappear. What are they trying to say? I am sorry. I am still in love with you. I am afraid you will never trust me again. I am the one who ruined what could have been beautiful. I am not as strong as you believed. I am ready now. The truth is not contained in only one of these sentences. It is larger. Their confession carries several truths at once, and this is why they cannot speak it casually. To confess one thing, they must confess everything. They cannot tell you they miss you without admitting why they stayed away. They cannot tell you they love you without explaining why they acted indifferent. They cannot ask for another chance without facing what their silence cost you. They cannot look into your eyes without seeing the reflection of their own unfinished choices. That is why they avoid your gaze in their imagination. Your eyes represent truth. Your eyes remember. Your eyes would not only hear the words. They would measure whether the soul behind them had finally become honest. And they know this. Do not misunderstand their fear as a lack of feeling. But also do not confuse feeling with readiness. Heaven is not asking you to excuse every delay simply because emotion exists beneath it. Love can be real and still require courage. A connection can be powerful and still require accountability. A soul can recognize you and still fail to honor the recognition. This message is not here to place you back into endless waiting. It is here to reveal what is happening so you can stand in your power while the truth rises. There is a difference between someone who is silent because they do not care and someone who is silent because caring has forced them into a battle with themselves. Your soulmate is in that battle now. The person they have been is fighting the person they must become if they want to meet you honestly. One part of them wants to remain hidden, protected by excuses. Another part is tired of watching love become a memory. One part says, wait until the perfect moment. Another part whispers, the perfect moment may already be gone. This inner conflict has intensified recently. A small event triggered it. Something happened that reminded them of you with unusual force. It may have been a song, a familiar place, a certain phrase, a dream, a conversation, a photograph, or the sight of two people speaking honestly after a long separation. It looked ordinary from the outside, but inside them it became a doorway. Through that doorway came everything they had been trying not to feel. They remembered your patience. They remembered your warmth. They remembered the way you made them feel seen. They remembered the moment they first realized you were different. And then they remembered how little they did with that realization. The regret was not dramatic at first. It came quietly. A pause. A heaviness. A sudden desire to hear your voice. But the longer they sat with it, the more impossible it became to ignore. They began replaying the past, not as they once justified it, but as it truly was. They saw the moments when pride spoke louder than love. They saw the chances they missed. They saw how often you reached toward them emotionally while they answered with confusion. And for the first time, they could not blame timing, circumstances, other people, or uncertainty. They saw themselves. That is the moment their conscience used the word they fear most. Coward. Not to destroy them, but to awaken them. A coward is not always someone who feels no bravery. Sometimes it is someone who knows exactly what must be done and keeps delaying because the truth feels too costly. Your soulmate knows what must be done. They know the silence has lasted too long. They know half-truths will no longer be enough. They know that sending a vague message, offering a casual greeting, or pretending nothing happened cannot repair what was wounded. They must come honestly. They must speak clearly. They must tell you what the sentence means. I am. Stay till the end, because heaven is bringing you closer to the words, but there is another layer you need to understand first. Their fear is not only about your reaction. It is also about what happens after you believe them. What if you say yes? What if you open the door? What if the connection becomes real, visible, and undeniable? Then they would have to live differently. They would have to stop running. They would have to become consistent. They would have to let love rearrange priorities they have guarded for years. Some people fear losing love. Others fear receiving it. Your soulmate has done both. They have feared losing you, but they have also feared what your love would require from them. Your love is not weak. It does not ask them to remain the same. It calls them upward. It asks for truth where they are used to hiding. It asks for vulnerability where they are used to control. It asks for presence where they are used to disappearing. It asks them to become emotionally visible. And being visible to you feels more intimate than anything they have known. You have touched a place in them that no one else reached because you did not only see who they were pretending to be. You sensed who they could become. You saw goodness beneath confusion. You saw tenderness beneath distance. You saw a heart beneath the armor. This should have made them feel safe, but at first it made them feel exposed. They wondered, what if this person truly knows me? Then a deeper fear followed, what if they know me and still love me? Because love like that leaves no excuse for staying hidden. This is why their behavior has sometimes appeared contradictory. They moved closer, then pulled away. They showed emotion, then denied it. They created warmth, then became cold. They watched for your response, then acted as if they did not care. They wanted reassurance, but avoided offering it. They were trying to feel the connection without surrendering to it. But true connection cannot be controlled forever. Sooner or later, truth asks to be spoken. Heaven has been working in the spaces they thought were empty. Every delay has become a lesson. Every distance has become a mirror. Every attempt to distract themselves has eventually led them back to the same unanswered truth. They have tried to reason their way out of what they feel. They have told themselves that time would make it smaller. They have tried to replace depth with busyness. They have attempted to convince themselves that another path would be easier. But easy did not feel alive. Safe did not feel true. And no matter where their mind wandered, their soul kept returning to you. That return is not always romantic and beautiful. Sometimes it arrives as discomfort. Sometimes it arrives as longing. Sometimes it arrives as regret. Sometimes it appears as a sudden awareness that they have not felt fully understood since the connection changed. They may not publicly admit it, but there are parts of them that became quieter after the distance between you grew. Something inside them misses who they were in your presence. You did not simply make them feel wanted. You made them feel possible. Around you, they caught glimpses of a more honest version of themselves. A softer version. A braver version. A version capable of choosing love instead of hiding from it. Losing closeness with you also meant losing contact with that version of themselves. This is part of why they feel restless. They are not only missing you. They are missing the person they almost became beside you. Now the pressure is building. Their soul is asking for movement. Their conscience is refusing to let them sleep comfortably inside old excuses. And your energy is no longer making silence easy for them. Something huge is waiting for you, but it may not arrive in the form you imagined. Perhaps you expected a perfect confession, delivered with complete confidence and flawless words. Perhaps you imagined them suddenly becoming fearless. But their first attempt may carry trembling. It may be imperfect. It may begin indirectly. They may approach the truth in fragments because the full truth feels enormous. Do not mistake nervousness for insincerity. But do not accept confusion as a substitute for clarity either. You are allowed to listen without abandoning your standards. You are allowed to care without carrying all the emotional labor. You are allowed to love someone and still require honesty. This message is not telling you to chase them, rescue them, or make the confession easier by speaking it for them. The lesson belongs to them now. They must find the courage. They must cross the distance. They must complete the sentence. You have already done something important without realizing it. By choosing peace over pursuit, you have placed the responsibility back into their hands. Your silence, if it comes from self-respect rather than manipulation, is teaching them what your constant availability could not. It is showing them that love is a gift, not a guarantee. It is reminding them that souls can remain connected while lives continue moving. It is revealing that they cannot keep you emotionally suspended forever. This realization has shaken them. They thought the greatest danger was confessing and being rejected. Now they understand the greater danger may be waiting until there is no longer a place for the confession to land. There is a moment approaching when they will have to choose between discomfort and regret. Discomfort lasts for a moment. Regret can echo for years. Their soul knows this, even if their fear still argues against it. And there is something else. Someone may have recently said something to them that exposed their feelings. It could have been a friend asking why they still react when your name appears. It could have been a family member noticing their mood. It could have been someone casually suggesting that you may be moving on. It could have been a simple question: why don't you just tell them the truth? They may have laughed it off. They may have changed the subject. They may have said, "It's complicated." But inside, the question remained. Why don't you just tell them the truth? Because the truth is not only that they care. The truth is that they know they have cared for far longer than they admitted. The truth is that they compare every shallow connection to the depth they felt with you. The truth is that they have looked for your qualities in places where they could not be found. The truth is that they have imagined your absence becoming permanent, and the thought left them shaken. The truth is that beneath all their uncertainty, one conclusion has become impossible to escape. You are not easily replaced. You were never just another chapter. You became the page they kept returning to.